What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Side Scheme, a podcast about everybody's favorite superhero card game, Marvel Champions. I'm your host, I am Banana Crapshoot, and I am here doing something different and new. I'm using Spreaker's mobile recording studio, and I drive a lot for work. So I think every so often, maybe off weeks where we don't have a normal podcast, I'm going to try to do like a mini podcast episode, 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm driving around or doing something for work. And today's little episode is going to be a deck build episode based off of the Banana Builds Quicksilver Aggression article I had wrote, and the article I published on the DB called Punchline. It is a Quicksilver Aggression deck, and it is a lot of fun, and it's really strong, and I just want to talk about it because I enjoy it so much. So it's, your normal Quicksilver cards, right? So I'll go through the deck itself, what I have in it, and then we'll talk about some of the plays and the lines you want to look for while you're playing this deck. So the allies, I have Hulk, Scarlet Witch obviously comes from his kit, Spider-Girl, Tigra, and Wasp. Now, I have Hulk, Spider-Girl, and Wasp are in here mainly to be Earth's Mightiest Heroes targets so you can reset Quicksilver. Hulk is also a great meat shield. He can usually take a hit or two. But the mix of resource icons in here, you can't reliably count on Hulk doing well for you as an attacker. So he's in here as a blocker and a Earth's Mightiest Heroes reset target, because we're going to get most of our damage from Quicksilver, so we don't really need our allies to do that. Tigra is great for minions. She can stay on the board, and you can use them to thwart if you need, but you can even use half your turn thwarting with Quicksilver to maintain the board state and still be able to put out good enough damage. His event suite, he has the 4 Always Be Running, which is his 1 cost reset, 2 Double Time, which is from his kit. Then we have 3 Earth's Mightiest Heroes, right, so we can ready Quicksilver. 2 Maximum Velocity, which is his self-buff from his hero kit. That gives him +2 thwart, +2 attack, and +2 defense until the end of the round. You can play max 1 per face. So that one's really strong. I have 2 copies of Moment of Triumph in here. We're usually going to see a couple minions a game, unless you're playing like Absorbing Man with Goblin Gimmicks or something. So being able to heal for 2 or 3 a couple times a game is pretty huge to keep Quicksilver on his hero side, since he only has 9 health, right? And most of the time the aggression, especially if you're playing solo, you're going to lose to Scheme. So if you can stay in hero form as long as possible, that really mitigates your loss condition. So having 2 Moment of Triumphs really helps keep you standing up. 2 copies of Skilled Strike. This could be 3, so it could Moment of Triumph, but the amount of cards I want to fit in here, and I want to try to stay at 40. Skilled Strike is just great to get a higher attack value. I'm running the Energy, Resource, Strength for resources, and then I'm only running 1 Power of Aggression. Now the reason for 1 Power of Aggression is my aggression cards I have in here, like Moment of Triumph and Skilled Strike, are 0 cost, right? And then Hulk, Spider-Girl, they're 2, Tigra's 3, and then Wasp is 0 to 3. Most of the time I'm only going to pay 1 or 2 for her. So the 1 Power of Aggression is really only helping us for allies, and most of our cards stay on the table, right? So the only aggression cards that don't stay on the table are Moment of Triumph and Skilled Strike, and they cost 0. So it didn't make sense to run 2 Power of Aggression, but I still like having access to the wild on Power of Aggression to pay for other things that you might need, like Yarnborn, right? So I have Yarnborn in here. So we'll just go through the upgrades quick. So he has the 1 Accelerated Reflex, Friction Resistance, Hyper Perception, and Reinforced Sinew from his kit. And then I have 2 copies of Tenacity, 1 Yarnborn, 1 Combat Training, and 3 Adrenaline Rush, right? And then the supports, I have 1 Hall of Heroes, 1 Helicarrier, 1 Queen Carrier, and then the Serval Industries from his kit. So the 1 Power of Aggression, right, is going to help pay for things that stay on the board. And then the next time through the deck, it's a wild resource that you can use, like to pay for Wasp, to pay for Yarnborn triggers, right, to pay for Tenacity resets. So that's why the 1 Power of Aggression in here. But really, your first pass through the deck, you want to play, permanents. You want to play Helicarrier, Quinn Carrier. You want to play your definitely your attack, your Reinforced Sinew upgrade, right? You can play some Tenacity. You want to play Yarnborn, because the real engine here is the friction resistance and Yarnborn plays. So how that works is it's like after you attack, you can reset. You can use, but what you really want to do is you want to attack. The Yarnborn trigger happens. You can play for Yarnborn with friction resistance. Then you can use Quicksilver's super speed to reset, and then reset friction resistance. And then when you attack again, you attack Yarnborn, pay for it with friction resistance. And then if you, with other ready effects, whether it's Tenacity or Always Be Running, right, you can attack, Yarnborn, reset, and you can do that multiple times in a round. And you can also spread the damage, because Yarnborn just says deal 2 damage to an enemy, not like the same when you attacked. So you can attack the villain and use Yarnborn to take out a minion, or you can attack a minion and use Yarnborn to take out to put damage on the minion. So you can spread the damage around doing it this way. And if you build your hand, right, you got 5 cards, and if you have Quinn Carrier and Helicarrier down, that you can, and you have resets and you have Tenacities down, you can get multiple attacks in with multiple Yarnborn triggers in a turn, and it's pretty insane the amount of damage you can put out there. Now I will say I had built and published a leadership OTK deck with Quicksilver, and I got that to trigger probably about 7 times in the games I played. I basically just kept running up against Claw with that leadership build, and I got it to trigger a decent amount of times where you go really wide, like 4, 5, 6 wide, and then you use Strength in Numbers and Avengers Assemble, like, to get his attack really high, and you can basically one-shot both stages of the villain at that point. But it takes a long time to build. You really got to stall out, and it's not like the most exciting thing to play. It's more of like an achievement than anything. This aggression build feels like a real deck. I guess that it's fun, it's good, and you're not going to be dealing 100 damage a round. The most I've done in one round with this deck is 54 damage, I think it was. I think you could possibly get higher if you worked in a couple more resets, like a 3rd Tenacity and some Battle Furies. But I didn't have Battle Fury because he only has 9 health, so I didn't want to damage him. I didn't want to have to damage him because that's more than 10% of his health. So that's why I don't have Battle Fury. Hall of Heroes I could see taken out, especially if you're running into a scenario that doesn't have minions. But the real engine, is like play your permanents, get your attack as high as you can, and then if you can attack 3 times around, and you're getting a Yarnborn trigger off of 1 or 2 of them, you can consistently do like 12 to 14 damage around once you're set up. And even in multiplayer, I mean, that's pretty good damage consistently each round. You're going to spike higher than that. You might have some crazy rounds where you're building your board back up for some reason and you're only getting your basic attacks off. But the other thing is, like, you can attack once before you set up, before you want to go in on big attack rounds. You can attack once and thwart, and it also really helps that you get the free defense every round to keep him surviving longer, that with Moment of Triumph. It all just works well. So this deck is called Punchline. I have it on the DB. I'll copy it in the show notes for this episode when I put it up. But it's a basic Quicksilver Aggression deck. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. And as always, stay scheming, champions.